Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the ETVT podcast, where you're free to build your perception from an infinite world of possibilities. I'm your host, Elijah Vargas.
All about it every time. Every time. You'll never catch me saying or doing anything that's even when it comes to disciplinary actions. I've had a soldier show up to a PT test, earrings, necklace, like you just left the club, right? I'm giving the pre-PT brief. I look over, hey, let me talk to you for a second. I may be direct with him directly, but I won't put him on the show block in front
The
of
spot, yeah.
everybody because the problem with that is every time aggression is going to be met with aggression.
There it is.
You know, um, it's a way to approach every situation. So, hey, and when I got him by, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Take this shit out your ear. Take the goddamn chains off. You're in uniform. Get your fucking life together. Oh, my bad, chief. I'm sorry. Blah, blah. Okay,
Right.
cool. Look, and that's fine. Don't make a spectacle of them. It's fine, right?
You know what's wild is the immense difference in respect that a leader gets. And I know because I've been there. And we hang around these people every day. When you do that as a leader instead of making a scene, which is crazy because there's still so many people that think no mass punishment, embarrass them. No, that's not a problem with the soldier. That is a problem with the individual who that is an aspect in leadership that they severely lack. It's crazy to think to me that people don't understand the difference that it has on the soldier and even the reality of the situation when you as a man pull them to the side to chew them out. Like
Right. But
that's a serious. It sounds so small.
the thing is, that's the old school way of doing things, right? I don't know.
The
I'm pretty
back in
sure
my
you
day,
the back in mind. I'm pretty sure you've noticed that rules are written added to, but never taken away. So
mm,
it's, oh well, hey, we caught this one soldier doing this. Nothing for everybody else. Sprinkles are for winners, and none of you guys are winners because this one guy failed.
right?
That's not the way to handle that at all. And that's the fastest way to kill morale for your organization
And that
is to
jacks up the
punish
mission.
it. It does. It does.
That makes the mission so much more difficult than it needs to be. Which is funny because I've also noticed this too. Is my first experience, when I was deploying and most of my training experiences is sometimes I ask, like I have to sit here and I sit back and I think, do we care about the mission or do we care about ourselves? Like, when you sit in the sky meetings, like you call it, I love that and I'm keeping that.
Stolen.
You see stolen ideas, stolen valor,
Stolen.
stolen everything. Um, I had moments where like I would have to mentally detach myself because I'm like, we have grown, experienced individuals that have gone so far off the mission. It gets to a point where it's not even about the soldiers. It becomes a thing of it's about and I think I was gonna avoid saying this earlier, but I think that it's a if it's not a back in my day type of ordeal where this is naturally how they have developed uh, throughout their whole career, it seems like it's an ego thing where hey,
It is.
I want my idea to be put out there. I want my way of doing it to be put out there. I want to make a scene because I want to be seen or to be heard. And that's just I get it. I understand the nature of the situation, but personally, I don't understand why it's such a why it's such a common practice or thing, and why it goes so unnoticed. It's like an elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about.
So what I would say is the issue with that is, yeah, you're right. It's a, hey, I want to be seen. Look at me righting the wrongs. I'm Batman right now. Shouts
Right,
out,
right.
shouts out to Batman. This is my favorite hero. I'm not gonna call him a superhero because he doesn't have superpowers. However, I got Batman everywhere here. Um, it is. That's exactly what it is. But um, what it takes is that individual who's not doing. What's crazy is the person who's not doing it to be seen will be the most visible.
Hmm.
If you have somebody who's legit doing something for the right reason, I'm not looking for notoriety or anything like that, right? But
Talk about it.
but the soldier will, hey, what Chief Sears? Where's Chief? I want to Now all of a sudden, what is he doing that's garnering all of this attention? Why is everybody going to him? Why is he so important? Why is he talking to such and such and such and such? And it's not a thing of anything going on. It's the fact that I'm taking the time. And the problem is, even at a certain point, let's just say you're you're the general or the AO or somebody in the general staff. Yes, you may have that vision of, hey, take time out with your soldiers and make sure you know where they come from. The problem with that is the way that that is put forth to action, you can't control, right? If I'm the general and I tell
Right.
you,
Absolutely.
spend time with your soldier, but you're the section OIC, and now it's a, hey, I'm making it mandatory that y'all talk to each other. Right? What does that look like?
Mandatory 18-mile ruck.
Right. What does that look like? As opposed to, hey, let me talk to you for a second. On a one-on-one basis, or even on a all the officers get out of here. I'm the OIC and I want to talk to the Lord enlisted.
Right.
That right there shows that you care. You know, as a warrant, if I did that and I sat down with the soldiers, they're not gonna care. I've sat down with plenty of soldiers, plenty,
We know. We know.
and it's like, hey, like, what's really going on? What are your plans? Right? I'm not a recruiter. I'm I will even venture out to say that I know that we are in a recruiting crisis.
Absolutely. That's no secret at
But
all.
it's not. But what I will tell you is I'm not going to tell you to re-enlist if your life is set up outside. If you have a plan, hey, how can I help you? What are you trying to do? How
Right.
are we moving? You know,
That goes exactly back to what I said earlier, where people can tell when you genuinely care about them as a leader and when you don't. Like when you're just playing a game.
if you're
That's
playing
some
a
real
numbers
stuff.
game, yo, they see that. They see that. It's
100%.
kids, right? The kids can tell, like you said, energy, right? Oh, well, he's just trying to beef up the numbers. That's fine. That's all well and good. But the best way to beef up numbers is be genuine. You know what? I never felt like anybody cared until I got in a uniform. I think I want to stay. I think I want to
Mm,
stay. I like this feeling. You know, that is genuinely a thing versus, oh, well, I wouldn't get out before 12 years because X, Y. Like, get the fuck out of here. Who you trying to convince? You and me.
right.
Like, you literally just sent me out here to eat shit in the freezing cold rain, and you think I'm gonna stay? Like, nah.
Right.
But if Chief out here eating shit with me in the freezing cold rain, yeah, bro, I know it sucked, but it gets greater later. You know what? As a matter of fact, we're gonna do whatever. Excuse me, pardon me. We're
Oh, no,
gonna
you good.
go, we're gonna do whatever, right? We come back, we're gonna talk about it, we're gonna conduct the AAR. And that's where you get to say, hey, did it really suck? Yeah, it was cold, it was wet. That's fine. That sucks for everybody. But what do we learn? What do we gather from it?
Right.
Let's have a constructive kind of conversation from the situation, right? Like, come on. But
Th-
somebody who's not in it, they don't get a chance to do that.
Right. No, there it is. You hit. I love saying this because this was so accurate, but you hit the nail on the head. Um, the thing is, first of all, the fact that you come here as a chief and speak like this, and I can vouch for the fact that you practice what you preach. You are also breaking a stigma of chief warrant officers become chiefs because like they go off to the side and do whatever. But there are chiefs, and I would say majority of chiefs in my experience. I have actually not seen one that fits that stigma, although I believe it could be different for us because our chiefs are SMEs up the butt, because if you're a chief national guard, like this is your profession. You know, you a network engineer here that has a job as a senior network engineer is going to be, and I'm saying this as the truth. I'm not saying it to make like a bashing comparison, but is a majority of the time going to be much more of an expert and well practiced than a network engineer that's just active duty and does the, it's how it is. We're exposed to more. Um,
Yeah,
so what I think you just, I wouldn't say exposed, but emphasized and put into great words is that a lot of the issues with retention and the culture isn't necessarily a policy or just because it's the military.
it's
It's a
not.
human thing.
It's human.
It's
It's human interaction. It's that human involvement, that personability. It
we have ignored the
it,
power in that.
what's crazy is, and I hate to put it this way, because at a certain point it could seem to be manipulation, right?
Oh, of course.
But that is
Yeah.
not the goal. Um, Simply by talking to somebody. I've had a soldier come to me and, hey, I got hurt. This is what's going on. They preach we're a family, but now that I'm down and out, I've seen nobody. You're the
They
first
yes.
person that I've had a legit conversation with. What am I to do?
People sense what's real and what's not.
So it's she felt betrayed by the uniform, by the organization. At
Absolutely.
this point, you're 100% risking what do they call that? Um what a threat is from internal, is from inside.
Oh, insider threat.
Inside a threat. Yes, you're 100% risking that.
Oh my goodness, yeah. There's some. Oh yeah, the amount of people, and that's why. So when me and you had this conversation, real quick, what you were talking about when you put people aside to communicate with your soldiers, you did do that to me. I remember, like my first or second day with the unit, and our NCOIC at the time was like, "Hey, you should probably just go warrant." And you and Chief Coddles were the ones that pulled me to the side as the only warrants in our group and was like, "Hey, here's the benefits." And then we talked and whatever. But when I tell people that I don't want to stay in, I am sure to emphasize that it's not that I hate the military, because a lot of people that get out, well, and I mean it when I say it. I'm not saying hate as like the common trendy term. I
No,
mean
I know people
hate.
right now that are like, hey, I regretted I signed up. I did my years and I got the fuck out. Pardon my French, but that is their
You good?
MO right now. And that is unfortunate because we
Very
both
much.
know that for the most part, I'm not gonna say all of it because you do have commanders. Like I said, mine at the time was, hey, I'm not gonna promote you because of X, Y, and Z. External factors to me,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, your commander and everybody has a say so on what happens to you overall. But it's that endurance. And some people can't handle that. Some people are just like, oh, well, you want to shit on me? Fuck it. I'm gonna just leave.
Right.
It's unfortunate because you lose a lot of great people like that. You lose a ton of talent. You lose a ton of just great people overall. And it's unfortunate because you can't affect the leader that you have, but what you can affect is how you respond to that type of leadership.
Absolutely. And that also goes hand in hand with, you can't affect it, like we said in the beginning of this podcast. You can't affect what the army is, but you can affect what you build from it, how you respond to it. I think, it's taking
Right.
that initiative. I 100% agree. I
So
do.
this is what I will tell you also, is the unfortunate part is by the time that unsavory leader has had command of this great soldier, what you also have to look at is at the time when they first get in, they're probably 18, 19,
Hmm.
not fully developed in their emotional responsiveness,
Absolutely.
right? You're still the rebel. You're still that, who the fuck are you talking to? You're still
That is
that,
the first big phase in life when you
right.
finally go out into the world and you're like,
Right. You're still in that, nah, bro. I know people right now told command, hey, I'll beat your ass. Hey, meet me outside. Go ahead, take the top off. Just go ahead, take the top off, right? But later in life, 26, 27, 28, 29, all the way 36, you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have responded to that in that manner. But we can't sit here and deny the reason why you responded like that. Who approached you in a manner to set you off? Like I said earlier, aggression's only met with aggression.
Right.
You could come to me and say, look here, we got to do land that. Oh, what you mean? Why we got to do land? Why we? No, no, no. Hey, look, this is what's going on. This is the mission. This is what we have. Boom, boom. Right now it's land nav. A little bit later, we're going to do this. It gets greater later, right?
Right.
It's all about presentation. I could present you shit
Absolutely.
in a sock. And if I tell you, all right, look, I know what it smells like, but we're gonna serve it up as fertilizer for our plants over there so we can eat a week later. You probably, oh, okay, look, you said what
Bingo.
I get
Yeah.
cucumbers?
I
I get
like that.
cucumbers?
Hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Marketing 101. You guys just got a free master class. All right. From both I would consider us educated. I don't think any of us have our grad yet, but we
Oh,
got this.
oh, I'm
We
one
got
class away. Masters in cybersecurity and information assurance.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm not gonna say congrats yet. I almost did, but I know you can do it. That's why I felt that. So I can't wait for you to get it. Um, man, okay. So we've been going at this, and to be quite honest with you, what I love about this episode was that this was more of a conversation and it felt a lot less like an interview, which I wanted because I really hope that the people that listen all the way through here, or you know what, even if they listen to a piece of it, that they understand that there is so much to learn from your mindset alone. Because what I really want and what I stand for, whether I continue in the uniform or not, is I think that when you get out of uniform, and I know we're shifting gears, I like how we're closing this out. Um, Even when I get out of uniform, people shouldn't get it twisted. The service to your country and yourself, it doesn't stop.
It doesn't.
It never does, and it never should. So I love asking closing questions because I think we're almost an hour in if we're not there yet.
Look,
Um,
I was solid. I was talking. I was like, look, okay. I don't know. Like I wasn't keeping track of time or anything like that.
no,
This
this is
is so
awesome.
can I throw this out here?
No, of course you
Right.
can.
What I would say is, and anybody in our section will tell you, I definitely put you on a pedestal because you have the potential. I get shit from the higher ups, right? What do you mean you didn't tell him to stay in? Stay in. What do you mean you didn't? And that's fine. I will never tell you to do something that's not advantageous to yourself. But what I will say is you have untapped potential. As quirky as you are, and I talk my shit. I do talk my shit. Don't get me wrong. I know I do. And we laugh, we joke, whatever, whatever. But you'll be great. Like I said, remember I told you the scenario? I was like, look, you're gonna fuck around and be that contractor over there that I fucking deploy and have to work for.
Of
And I
course I
mean
did.
that.
You did bring that up, and I think I told you I was like, you know what's crazy is I've actually always wanted one of those contracts because they get paid.
They get
We're
paid.
gonna share. We're gonna share because here's another thing too. Um, is you know the game in the military. First of all, I'm humbled and I'm honored, and I do appreciate that. And to be quite honest with you, I do believe that if the beginning of my career was this experience, I would probably have a much better connection with long-term military thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It, you know, honestly, it just didn't work out that way. But I will never say that. First of all, I will never, ever, ever tell an individual, especially a young individual with skills and talents, to not at least try it. I think there's nothing wrong with a 3-year contract, as long as I know. Because I think another problem is, you know, when these recruiters are so pushed for metrics and numbers, they're missing the quality of the people that they're bringing into the military.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great things that you can get out of it, but when the people that you're putting in aren't ones that will understand the rules and policies, that will try to educate themselves, you know, it's and then after 3 years, they're like, man, this is garbage. It's like you said, that, you know, the people that will not take that initiative, it it has bad long-term effects. But I would never ever tell anybody to not try it.
Right.
I think it's great. Um, and I will never ever say that I didn't do it because it's shit or that I hated it. It is honestly probably the most important foundation. It's the most important thing that I needed to build the foundation that I have now. It is my foundation. Um, so I appreciate what you said. Uh, but I think it is also important for people to recognize that just because I chose not to stay in, or just because I am leaving your team, it doesn't mean that
It's not personal.
right,
Yeah.
right. And that was a hard
Yeah.
lesson I had to learn too. Is like there is a difference between don't get personal with business. That is
I've
actually real.
yeah, I've had great, when I tell you great commanders. And I still look at stuff this way, right? I do understand that it is definitely an age variation when it comes to rank, when it comes to certain things.
Absolutely.
I went Warren at the age of the brand new age of what, 24, 25, somewhere around in the area. You
That's actually
know,
pretty young to go warrant.
it's crazy. It's insane, right? So with that puts me in an age bracket with people that are well beyond me. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving with these older individuals and having conversations, getting to know people, and it's, oh, we're gonna be in forever. We all gonna retire together. We gonna do, nah, bro, nah. They're falling off, and I was, but what happened? And it's not that realization. Well, you don't have that realization until it happens. Like, oh
Mm,
man, my peers, they're dropping off. Now it's just me, so
right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a hard thing. Um, that's a again another one of those. Man, this started with like the secret. So that's another kind of secret thing. Is I got off track there. But what I was saying was there were like parts of the environment, the nature of the military that you can explain all day long, but you don't understand until you experience it. Hey, when you deploy and you find out that someone that's a plumber that works 2 or 3 days a week is getting paid like 100,000 more than you because they got the right contract going overseas, and they're home and some of them can bring their families. And you're like, what? The second thing, since you brought that up, is when you find yourself in a situation of survival, which honestly is, I don't know about the new basic training. I have no opinions on it because I only know what I heard. I haven't
right,
seen it.
right,
But I know that when we started, um, basic training is where the survival aspect starts. Like they put you in situations where you're like, either you're going to get through it as a team or you fail. And that'll make the difference between whether you get to eat a meal or whether you get sleep or whether you're
hmm
going to be out in the cold or whatever. You develop connections with people and different types of people that you would have never thought. Like the what's it, camaraderie.
camaraderie. So what I will tell you,
Mm,
some of my best friends to this day, outside of the ones that I still keep in contact with from high school, struggle builds bonds. The
there
people,
it is.
my first deployment, my like the people that were in my room through the rocket attacks, the indirect fire, the whatever, the being on guard duty, the doing whatever, you know, we are still close to this day. Like we have a group chat called Brothers for Life. I'm not lying to you. Struggle builds bonds. When you can say, hey, you know what? We both went through this. I I'll tell you, so I remember when my first deployment, I was the unit's VTC tech, video teleconferencing tech, right? So I traveled with the general. I had to go to different compounds. We were on CAF, Kandahar Air Force Base, right? It
Mm-hmm.
was a NATO base, right? So you had everybody there from different
Oh, I bet
nations.
you it was nice too, wasn't it?
It was nice for, I guess, the area.
Right, right,
Like it
right.
was nice. It wasn't nice at all, but
All right, all right.
um it was, I was in the room traveling around, boom, 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 set up these VTCs, whatever. Got back to my room. It was probably like 6 in the evening, right? Anybody who's ever been a calf knows about the boardwalk. So I was like, look, I want to go to the boardwalk and get something to eat. And people in my room, no, bro, what you doing? Like, so I had set up a LAN. This was, pre-cap internet. So I had a little switch in the ceiling and connected like everybody's PlayStation or the Xbox. It was Xbox at the time. Connected the Xboxes so we could have LAN parties. I'm telling
Mhm.
my age right now, So we had the LAN parties. Everybody sitting there playing. I was like, bro, I'm hungry. I need to go and get something to eat. Anybody who knows me know, like when I'm hungry, I'm a different person, So
Right.
that's like, man, shut up. Well, we're going to get something to eat after this. I said, man, I'm about to go. I'm about to walk out the building. What I'm going to going to the boardwalk to the kebab house. All right, cool. You know what? I'll wait. That's fine. Kebab house was maybe 3 minutes from our room. 2 minutes later, rocket attack hit right there at the boardwalk where the kebab house was.
Uh-uh.
Some soldiers lost their life. My people was like, oh man, like this 100% could have been you. Whatever, like that was a scary moment. But in that was, hey, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Like that was, even if you didn't even know what was going on, but in that moment, you saved me. Hey, I'm rocking with you. So, and that has happened a few times with our friend group, and it's crazy, right? Through struggle. So,
You know what? We're ending it on that story because A, that was perfect. B, that was powerful. And I don't want it to go much farther off topic than this because like when I hear that, it puts me in a space where I'm just like, whoa. And given the disclaimer, this is being recorded on Memorial Day. So I think this fits perfectly with the fact that a situation like that puts your mind in a state that
you just never know. You
you
never
never,
know.
yeah, like you can tell the story, you can explain, but unless you've been there, dude,
Yeah, you never know.
no way. So honestly, I this is the only thing I'm gonna ask, and we're gonna have one closing question,
Okay.
because I think people get the point. Honestly, like they get the point of your perception of where you're coming from, of why you are the way you are, why you say the things you say, your beliefs, and honestly, the impact that you have. And by the way, you're not done. I'm excited to see how many more lives that you impact in the future. Because again, I only had you on here because I knew and I know that you are. I started using this new term for me because I didn't really say this word that much until recently, this last week. You're a pioneer in your field. You really are. And especially with the new generation, there's this thing where it's like, oh, I want to be an influencer, or I want to get out the rat race. There's so many stereotypes amongst very ignorant individuals, where if you're a soldier, then you're nothing but a slave to society, and
Yeah,
it's.
that's
And I'm not gonna lie,
unfortunate.
after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was like that for a few months. I was like, yeah, get out the rat race. They ain't got no assets, blah blah blah. But the power and the development, where I think the issue is what they're looking at is all the things that we discussed in the past, and they're not hearing stories like what you just told. They're not getting to speak and hear from people that are like
So,
you or me or Chief Coddles or many of the leaders that we have had, because you had mentioned it earlier. A lot of the good impact is those that work in silence. And what people hear and what people see naturally, which is why fear monger is like the marketing thing now for the media,
mhm.
is negativity. Negativity speaks loud.
So what I
But
would tell you is when it comes to that, um, the external perspective is crazy to me, right? It's don't get me wrong, the big green machine gonna chew you up. It's gonna get what it
absolutely,
can, it's gonna get what it can get at you, and it's gonna throw you to the side, right? Like I said earlier, the uniform is not forever. But when you're in, you can't. no person that has been in can tell me I didn't get anything from it. The opportunity is there, right? You may not know the avenue. Somebody may not have explained to you the avenue, and that's unfortunate. And I get it, but the opportunity is still there. So
100%. 100%. And we basically just concluded, you know, kind of the main point of a few different conversations that we had. Uh, so, like I said, I'm only going to close out with one question,
go
and it's my
ahead.
favorite closing question.
Go ahead. You got it.
If you could go back
Mhm.
and tell the younger version of yourself, I'm not even going to boil it down to one thing, anything, what would it be?
All right. Funny story. Anybody who knew me back as an E4 knew that, hey, I told everybody I'm gonna have $1 million in the bank before I have kids. Before I have my first child.
Okay.
$1 million in the bank. That was my thing. Look, I'm not rocking with y'all like that. Like, look, I'm this is my motivation right here. I would tell myself, hey, you know what? Strap in, learn, enjoy, and live life.
Mm,
Your plan is not the plan. Okay? Your plan is not the plan. Strap in, learn, live, and enjoy life.
I love it. I love it. I'll tell you what, if this wasn't the ending of the podcast, I would have had so much to say because there's a lot to that. There's a lot to that. And with that message, I want people to take it as they will. Yeah, repeat that one more time. Go ahead.
Strap in, live. I don't even remember what I said. It was live, learn, and enjoy life. Like
Enjoy
that's
it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that was I mean, because people get lost in living life, right? In the great words of Nicki Minaj, to live don't mean you're alive. Right? Like you
Oh.
can live. You're walking around this thing day to day, but are you enjoying this your time, right?
Mm-hmm.
The graveyard is full of regrets. The graveyard is full of what ifs. Why are you that person? Take that chance. You never know. You know what I'm saying? If it don't pan out,
100%.
cool beans. And I tell anybody, you say, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, that's cool. So what happens if it fails? Are you still in the same boat that you were in before making that decision? Yes. Then what are you missing? You're not missing anything. Life continues. Like, what are we doing? Strap in, live, love, and enjoy life. Like, nah. You're here. Oh, I'm saving my way to $1 million. I know people like that to this day. You're living in shambles. Yeah, your bank account is dope, but you're living in shambles. Fam, nah. Enjoy life. What are we doing here?
Sociology has a term for that, and I don't remember at the moment. I've said it episodes ago because I started recording this when I was in college. But when you define your meaning and your happiness and stuff on external things, monetary things, things that don't really exist in the in the natural world, and B, things that go away,
Mm-hmm.
that aren't really part of
Stuff
your
that's
energy.
expendable. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I'm glad you went into it because if I did, I would have gone off on so many tangents.
No worries. That'll have to be a later conversation. We'll definitely do it. Like I'm good with that. Look, I love that type of conversation.
Absolutely.
I know that wasn't the topic of the night, but
Absolutely. No, well, I mean, I'm gonna call you, in uniform, I call you Chief, but here, Terrence, man, I greatly appreciate you coming out here and sharing as much as you did. I think kids and even a lot of adults, honestly, we're all human. And I think one of the biggest, what's this term? Facilities or something like that. One of the biggest things that they don't tell us in high school. I need to up my vocabulary. But one of the most false things that we think growing up is that just because someone's an adult means that they have life figured out.
right,
And
right.
people like you are very important to me. Uh,
Let me tell you, um, and I tell my wife this all the time, right? We're just two individuals figuring it out day to day.
that's right.
It just so happens to work out. Don't get me wrong, it works out.
Well, and only God would know why.
Yeah, but
Like,
the thing is, we don't know what the day is going to bring. You're She's a mail carrier. You're out on your route. Tire goes flat. I'm at work, whatever miles away. Now, what do we do? How do we figure this out? I can explain to you how to change a tire over the phone, right? But you never know what you'll do in that situation till that situation happens. We're just two individuals trying to figure it out on a day-to-day basis. That's it.
mhm.
And you
And as
have to
hard
be
as
open-minded.
absolutely, and open-mindedness was so. Here's the thing: is I'm going through, the little framework, little document, little template that I made, and as you're talking, I'm like, all right, boom, we hit that, boom, we hit that, boom. All right, never mind. Well, and open-mindedness was one of them, and I think the important thing is that obviously, from this, it didn't even feel like an interview. From this conversation, people can understand your attachment to open-mindedness. A lot of things you preach, a lot of things you practice is because you're a very open-minded individual. You see opportunities, and you read environments in a way to where you think, okay, how can I be the best leader for this individual or for this group? What can I do? What can I teach them from my past? That's a huge thing. And I want to say it's a gift. But I think it is a natural tendency that some people have ignored or haven't really figured out. So when people practice that and when people utilize that power, like yourself, that has such good impacts. And for you to come here, and I think it's very, very important for people to get to see this and get to hear this, because there are great, despite popular belief, despite what the history books saying, whatever, you can be a soldier and be a human being.
Mhm. You
You
can
can be a
100%.
leader in the army and be open-minded and be kind and want to help people grow in their potential. If anything, so we're both educated in I think computer science is what you have your bachelor's in as well,
It
correct?
is. Yep.
So we're both the same way. And one of the most beautiful things to me about the software development lifecycle, which in my opinion, I don't think people talk about enough, because that can be applied to a lot of things, and all of the different methodologies that exist. But when you don't define the success of a program, and take this as an analogy, but although
Mhm.
this is legitimate, you don't define the success of a program based off of how well it worked in test or how well it worked in initial launch per se. You define the success based off of how well it has been able to adapt to different situations. When there's a
Mhm.
bug, can you troubleshoot it? When things change in the world that it was made for, can it be modified? Is the code written in a way where it is complex but also makes sense enough for somebody that's well versed to be able to understand? That's why you have code
Is it future
structure. And
proof? Is it
yes,
future proof?
yes, and future proof is something, you know, I've been thinking about future proof this whole time as well, because someone like you, I think, is future proof. And I will say, I don't usually talk about myself like that, but I do believe I'm future proof. And if I'm not, you better be damn sure that I'm going to make sure that I'm doing everything that I need to be to develop myself to be future proof,
Right.
because war is constantly changing. The military, all military departments, society is everything constantly changes, and we need to focus more on the ability of human beings as and programs and our designs and so many things. We need to be able to make ourselves future proof, and I think that this conversation really emphasized that. So if nobody got that from this, if you got to this point, I really want people to think about that. So again, I thank you, because you have laid down that foundation, for me and for everybody that you have gotten to work with. And a lot of what you said, again, we probably could have talked for hours, and we have in
Yeah,
the
I
past.
was yeah, I was gonna say, like, so my thing is I really do appreciate you giving me the opportunity, right? I'll tell any and everybody, this is my first podcast, shouts out to you.
Thank
Um,
you, thank you, thank you.
but
Let me hit him with the
opportunity platform. No, but it's not even a but. It's more of a hey, I've definitely enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate the opportunity. I really hope that we can do this again in the future multiple times.
oh,
Um You know, I don't um I don't really I'm not gonna say I don't sing praises because I do. I sing praises to all of my soldiers because everybody has shortfalls, but also everybody
Absolutely.
excels in certain areas, you know, in in that area, yo, what I will say is, like I've told you before, you have a great opportunity before you. You have the potential. It's one of those whatever you decide to capitalize on, you know. So
Absolutely.
once again, I appreciate you.
And let me give a shout out. So this is why I have my phone, because and I'm gonna put a link to this in the bio. So here's the thing, and this is the way I see it, right? I'm planting a bunch of these seeds now because I think what's gonna happen is when this podcast blows up, people are gonna go back to the history. So you're not gonna wake up tomorrow and have like thousands of followers, but this might happen one day. So I'm gonna give a shout out to 32 Nightwing 32. Listen,
Ah
I had to
man,
re-download
that
the app because
wait
I
on my
haven't.
Twitch.
That's right. 32
That's crazy.
Nightwing 32. Watch him. I haven't I'm not gonna lie, because I don't really do Twitch like that, but I followed you and I haven't I haven't watched you since we first met. So I don't know if you uploaded or not, but
I
I
streamed
believe you're gonna
yesterday.
keep with it.
I streamed yesterday. It's fine. It's okay.
Okay, okay, my bad. Actually, yeah, I think it says 2 days ago.
Shame on you.
Uh,
Shame
uh,
on your phone. Shame on your cow. No, I'm just playing. I'm just picking.
well, in today's economy, I cannot afford a cow. No, but seriously, I appreciate you, and I think I truly do believe that what's gonna happen is we are gonna have another one because I'm gonna let the audience know right now before I close this out for like the third time. There's so much more I know you can unpack, but it's kind of hard when you have something like a podcast and an interview environment, and we can't shift too far, but we also have a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have a lot to share, and as time goes on and we experience more and we do more, this will absolutely happen again, 100%. So Chief Sears, or outside of uniform, Terrence, thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate you. I'm repeating myself.
Hey,
Thank you for
nah.
coming on. Thank you for everything that you've shared. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, if there's any ideas, remember you can reach out to me. I have my email, my Instagram, all that good stuff sitting in the bio. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, ETVT out. I usually cut this part because it takes me a
Oh,
second.
okay. I was